The Facebook Files, Part 1. We've got new evidence from Congress showing that the Biden White House put even more pressure than we already thought on Facebook. We knew that they were doing it to Twitter. We know that the government had liaisons with the FBI, colluding with the big tech companies to censor all of us during the 2020 elections and in the aftermath. But now Jim Jordan says it's much more pervasive than we thought. It's not just Twitter. It's not just YouTube, as we've gotten strikes and been suspended. It's also Facebook. And Jim Jordan, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee from Ohio, drops the Facebook Files, Part 1, titled Smoking Gun Documents, proving that Facebook censored Americans because of the Biden White House pressure. And this is the third-party outsourcing. The government can't censor us, supposedly. We've got the First Amendment, free speech, political speech is some of the most protected speech that we have. And so the fact that they're outsourcing this, according to a judge, says that that is illegal and unconstitutional. But they did it, and they still want to do it because they're appealing the ruling out of Missouri. Jordan says, never before released internal documents subpoenaed by our Judiciary Committee prove that Facebook and Instagram censored posts and changed their content moderation policies because of unconstitutional pressure from Biden. During the first half of 2021, right after Joe Biden took office, social media companies like Facebook faced tremendous pressure from the Biden White House, both publicly and privately, to crack down on alleged, quote, misinformation. In April 2021, Biden's in office, a Facebook employee circulated an email for Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and COO Sheryl Sandberg, writing the following. Hey, Mark and Sheryl, we are seeking your guidance on whether to take more aggressive action against certain vaccine discouraging content. Why? Well, we are facing continued pressure from external stakeholders, including the White House and the press, to remove more COVID vaccine discouraging content. For example, we recently shared with the White House a list of the top 100 vax-related posts on Facebook, and while authoritative information dominated the list, the White House was concerned that number 3 was a discouraging humorous meme, and they called on us to delete the meme. White House says delete the meme. We don't like it. We don't think it's funny. In another April 2021 email, Nick Clegg, Facebook's president for global affairs, informed his team at Facebook that Andy Slavitt, a senior advisor to President Biden, was, quote, outraged that Facebook did not remove a particular post. They said, just got off the call with Andy Slavitt over at the Biden White House. There are some pretty serious and sensitive, see the last point, issues that we need to address. Facebook's talking with the White House. Says he was appreciative of the data that we sent through last week on Friday and confirmed that Rob Flaherty, another White House lunatic who sent some of the most aggressive, condescending emails that we've ever read here from a government bureaucrat, has said that they never received so much data from us before. He's like, thanks. But Andy attended a meeting of misinfo researchers, didn't give us the names, that was organized by Rob Flaherty on Friday, in which the consensus was that Facebook is, quote, a disinformation factory, and that YouTube has made significant advances to remove content leading to vaccine hesitancy, whilst we have lagged behind. And we suffered the consequences of that advancement. Thanks, White House. Whilst appreciative of our emphasis on authoritative information, the principal focus for Andy at the White House and his team in the coming weeks is to reach the, quote, hardest to reach people who have a propensity to consume hesitant related content and who are not swayed by the official sources of our content. You mean the people who don't immediately become brainwashed by your propaganda? Our system, he believes, as confirmed by researchers, feed the hesitant related content to pockets of the population, and they want our help to remove it. He's notifying Facebook, he says, by the way, as an example, he was outraged, okay? Not too strong a word to describe his reaction. Outraged that we did not remove this post, which was the third most highly ranked post in the data set that we sent him, screaming. And we've seen the emails. I can't believe you're wasting our time. You're killing people. You're basically a hysterical, overly powerful bureaucrat going nuts on these tech companies, outraged that they're not doing immediately what they said because he thinks that he controls Facebook, I guess. What did the Biden White House want removed? A meme. This one says, 10 years from now, you will be watching TV or hear something like this. Did you or a loved one take the jab? You might be entitled to like some sort of a, lawsuit compensation thing, saying that maybe there will be a bunch of lawyers running commercials about this stuff, which is something that we see every day. It's a joke. It's a meme. It's not medical advice or medical information at all. It's from a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. When Clegg countered that removing content like that would represent a significant incursion into the traditional boundaries of free expression, the White House disregarded the First Amendment. Said the following, says, I countered that by removing content like that would represent a significant incursion into traditional boundaries of free expression in the United States. But Slavitt at the White House said that the post was directly comparing the things to asbestos, which I didn't see that word at all, in a way which demonstrably inhibits confidence in the jabs, amongst those that Biden is trying to reach. And so he says it would be very helpful if someone could please check whether this content was also available on YouTube. Andy's assumption is that YouTube would never accept something like this. A meme? What happened next? Facebook panicked. In another April 2021 email, Brian Rice, Facebook's VP of Public Policy, raised the concern that Slavitt's challenge felt very much like a crossroads with us and the Biden White House in these early days. All of that said, Andy's challenge feels very much like a crossroads for us during these early days. And I feel bad for these guys. I mean, I know what it's like to have a psychopath prosecutor or the strong arm of the government breathing down your neck. I've represented many clients in those positions, and it's a difficult spot to be in. So when the White House, when the executive branch comes to your company and says, do this or else, that is a precarious position to be in. And shout out to this person from Facebook who's saying, hey, government, it's going to be a violation of free expression if you remove this. The White House didn't care at all. But Facebook wanted to repair its relationship with the White House, didn't want an adverse action. So they said, given what's at stake here, it'd be a good idea if we could regroup and to take stock of where we are in relations with the White House and our internal methods too. Thanks. Freaked out. But this wasn't the first time that the Biden White House was angry that Facebook didn't censor more. According to these documents, the White House also demanded to know why Facebook had not censored a video from Tucker Carlson, one of their biggest critics. Why don't you remove him too? To appease the Biden White House, talking points were drafted for Clegg. Facebook was ready to tell the White House that it had demoted a video by Tucker Carlson by 50%. Oh, your political opponent who critiques you and calls you idiots every day, we're going to deboost him to make you happy. In response to the White House demands. It's disgusting. Even though the post didn't violate any policies. Here's the email. They said, thanks, Nick. Here's some talking points that you can use if Andy from the White House raises Rob Flaherty from the White House their questions. How is this Tucker Carlson post not violative? They gave him the following. They said, while we remove content that explicitly directs people not to get the jab, as well as content that contains explicit misrepresentations about it, we reviewed this content in detail and it does not violate those policies. Not going to be happy there at the White House. Moreover, you can say you reduced and demoted it. What does that mean? Well, people wanted to exercise their free speech on the platform and share the video. There's 40,000 shares on it. Who's seeing it now? How many? How effective is that? The video, they say, is receiving a 50% demotion for 7 days as it is in the queue to be fact-checked. Do you see that? Oh, no, it's just we're processing it. It's going to be fact-checked, and it's going to be demoted until we fact-check it, until it's old and dead, and then it will go out of the fact-checking queue when nobody's interested in the story anymore. So absolutely rotten. Now, public pressure mounted as well. In July, Biden publicly denounced Facebook. He said that they were killing people by not censoring misinformation. Okay, so on August, Facebook then admitted, okay, we're going to change our policies because of pressure from the White House. What are we going to do? August 2nd, 2021, Facebook's leadership asked Misinfo Policy to brainstorm some additional policy levers we can pull to be more aggressive against misinformation. How can we censor people and violate their rights without, violating their rights? This is stemming from the continued criticism of our approach from Biden. Leadership asked about the Misinfo Policy, and a couple of people on the policy team should be brainstorming what we can do. This is stemming from the continued criticism from our approach from the U.S. administration and a desire to kick the tires internally for creative options. We've been sprinting over the past several days. We've dusted off some ideas that we've previously discussed, which we rejected, to come up with new ideas total so that we can censor people. But it wasn't just the White House. Facebook also changed its policies in direct response from the Surgeon General, and they censored members of the Disinformation Dozen. Here's their policies on how to do it. They want to reduce the prevalence of misinfo on the network. They said also, the Disinfo Dozen report faulted Facebook for allowing users to share the disinfo. And so they want to integrate the repeat offender system. It's a whole policy. It's a whole censorship policy. 4 different options. Designate them as being removed, make them non-recommendable, remove them for repeat offenses, and so on. Jordan says, these documents and others that were just produced to the committee prove that Biden and his administration abused its powers to coerce Facebook into censoring Americans, preventing free speech. Only after the committee announced its intention to hold Mark Zuckerberg personally in contempt did Facebook produce any internal documents at all, including these documents, which prove that the government pressure was directly responsible for censorship. They had to threaten Zuckerberg, and he gave them what they wanted. Based on Facebook's now newfound commitment to fully cooperate with our investigation, the committee has decided to hold contempt in abeyance for now. Hey, so if the executive branch can go and twist Facebook's arm to do whatever the hell they want, Congress can do it too. To be clear, Mark, contempt is still on the table and will be used if Facebook fails to cooperate in full. To be continued, Jim Jordan, Facebook Files, Part 1. So more of what we already knew and suspected. Government trying to suppress their political opponents because they are censorious cheaters and bullies who can't win fair. But now Congress has the details, and we'll see if they take action.